Hey guys, it's Tim and this is Wrestling Unlimited as we are here, myself, and In The Kliq's baby Huey for a special WWE 2024 Backlash review. It is a PW Unlimited cross, I guess you could say, In The Kliq review here. We're talking about WWE Backlash. This was such a good show. Fortunately, now, I had a friend do the notes for me, so if they're a little wonky or whatever, that's not on me. I was actually at my son's esports tournament all day. So I was watching the show live, but I wasn't able to take notes because I was watching it on my phone. And then that's why the review and everything is going up so late right now. But we've also got baby Huey here from In The Kliq. Baby Huey, what is going on?
Hey, man. Well, first off, thank you for having me back on. Always so much fun talking wrestling with you.
Right.
And I do apologize in advance if I do like a lot of blinking or squinting. I just got some brand new contacts. First time ever in my life at 40 years old getting contacts. I got some trial pairs on right now. So I am still getting used to them and stuff. So normally for your listeners and fans in the past who've seen me on here, I'm normally wearing glasses. So it's my first time like trying to do like a live stream with contacts on, and so it's just I'm getting used to it, but nonetheless cannot wait to talk Backlash with you.
Right. So I'll be honest, I didn't see the pre-show, but there was nothing on the pre-show other than a New Japan reference that took CM Punk by surprise. I thought that was really funny when Big E's over here going, Tama Tonga, he's used to wrestling with his brother Tangaloa out there in New Japan, so he knows how to team with family. And Punk's just like, wait, what? 10 years ago, that was forbidden on television to talk about. But if you think about it, go what?
I was just gonna, still has PTSD from the old regime. The old ways. So no, it's funny. Just like it's those little things you forget as a fan. Like there are things from the past that you don't have to worry about anymore. Mm-hmm. Like it's okay to say pro wrestler, pro wrestling. You don't have to say sports entertainment all the time. You can say the fans. You don't have to say WWE Universe all the time.
I think it was Gallows on his podcast was like, Triple H told us we're pro wrestlers, and that's what we could say now. So it's just out there. We're pro wrestlers.
Sweet. I love it. That's what they are. It is pro wrestling.
Well, that and swear words are allowed again. Because you get a lot of those, especially like tonight. We'll talk about it when we get to the world title match, but when Damian Priest was going for all those spin kicks, he was going for the third one, and he's like, rise, you bitch.
I heard that too. I was like, oh man, like there we go. Now granted, blood is still like questionable.
Did you see Tama Tonga bloody up Kevin Owens 2 weeks ago?
True.
That's a lot of blood.
However, if you go to like the photos from that night on SmackDown, it's still like black and white photos.
Well,
yeah,
because Triple H said this after Mania, I believe it was, in the press conference. He said his stance on blood is use it when it's needed to advance the story and make the story mean something more than it already does. He's like, we're not going to go out there and people ain't going to bleed in every other match every week. We're going to use
exactly.
He's like, I'm not against blood, but I'm not against. But what Triple H basically said he's against is overusing it. He's like, exactly. I think he even said that with swear words. He's like, you have these things that we never really did before that we can use, but you have to use them when the moment is right to make things better, bigger. And so, yeah, we're going to see blood in WWE. We're going to hear more swear words, but it's not like, and not to compare AEW where it's like John Moxley's in the ring and you're shocked when he doesn't. You almost have to take a back when he doesn't bleed.
Exactly. There's a balance there as far as, these wrestlers are trying to tell stories on TV and premium live events. When you're really trying to add like impact, make a point with a story beat, yes, that's when maybe a swear word or a moment of blood comes out. It has more impact and really solidify and sell the moment. But if you overdo it every single week, it loses its value. It becomes too saturated. And as you just said, not to make this against AEW or anything, but AEW, you're right. Like Moxley, I think in 2022 and 2023, I mean, hell, still now, like every match he has a bleeding at some point.
Right.
And now in Moxley's defense, didn't he do an interview? Was it last year? And he said, this is pro wrestling. Like he thinks it's more believable if you're gonna hit each other, you should be bleeding every match. It's
Right.
like trying to compare it to like MMA or
Yeah.
something. It's like, well, dude, come on. I mean, you gotta suspend your disbelief a little bit. So I definitely lean a little bit more to Triple H's philosophy and the importance of bleeding when it matters, not all the time.
No longer are you gonna be like Batista in that cage match on Raw and worry about, I just got fined $100,000 for bleeding. Vince was pissed about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But, and then speaking of New Japan and whatnot, real quick, Messi in the YouTube chat said they also mentioned Bullet Club. They mentioned Bullet Club like 3 different times. They mentioned it, talked about Tama Tonga. They mentioned it. Michael Cole said at the start of AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes, he goes, "We have 2 former Bullet Club leaders here tonight." I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Love it. Love it, man. Yep, exactly.
So with that, we got a lot to talk about. But I want to say thank you for joining us here. We're live twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. And you can find In The Kliq on all those, except for Twitch, but all those other services as well, whether that's YouTube. You can find them. You're on all podcast platforms, right?
Yeah, so take out your phones, whatever you use to listen to podcasts. Look us up on that app, Kliq, Kliq, In The Kliq. Yes, please hit that subscribe button. It's totally free to follow us. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Hit that subscribe button. Watch, let's see, WrestleMania interviews up there that Tim graciously helped edit. So, check out those interviews I did with Damage Control, Trick Williams and Kevin Owens. That was a lot of fun. And all our video are there as well. So please follow us, subscribe, social media as well at In The Kliq as well. I'm trying to get back into more posting photos and other videos on Instagram and all that good stuff. So please follow us wherever you can.
I will say when it comes to audio podcasts, I'm a little upset with Google because they used to have the dedicated Google Podcast app. Then they basically are migrating everything to their YouTube Music app. So now they they had a dedicated music app, then they created the YouTube Music app. Now podcasts are in the YouTube Music app, and I've been having weird issues with it where either it just randomly pauses itself or it just doesn't want to load the podcast sometimes. Also, the other issue is if you're a podcast that also has a YouTube channel, half the time it'll just load up the YouTube video. And I'm like, no, I just want the audio. I don't need the video right now.
Okay.
So like when I try to listen to like a Chris Van Vliet interview just off audio, it pops up the video on my phone. And I'm like, well, that's kind of not what I want. Do I have to go move over to like Spotify or iHeartRadio now?
Yeah,
because it tries to link everything back to YouTube.
Yeah, I noticed that too. The announcement, like beginning of April, they're like, Google Podcast is going away, so you got a couple months to migrate your regular podcast that you listen to whatever else or to YouTube. And I'm with you. I was trying to test it out, and like default was like the YouTube video. Well, if you're not able to watch YouTube or watch the screen, and like I know with my iPhone, if I'm watching YouTube and I, go in sleep mode, then the video stops playing. But if I'm listening to a podcast or streaming music, even if I'm sleep mode, the audio is still playing. So I'm with you. Like, no, default should not be the video. If I'm listening on the go, I want to have that audio playing in the background. So we'll see. I'm sure they'll figure it out. They're Google. They got lots of money.
And there's probably like a button I got to click, and then it just switches it over from audio to video. But
exactly.
As far as the show does go, 5 matches. And going in, I'm like, really only 5 matches? Typically, we get like the 6 or 7. Sometimes it sits more towards the 6. But then we go into the show, and my first thought was like, 5 matches. Oh, no. This is like a takeover. Like the Triple H refreshed everything at WrestleMania, and now he's got the main roster. And I'm like, wait. And I'm looking at these matches and like the matchups, and I'm like, okay, all these matches make sense, but I'm getting takeover vibes. And as soon as this show starts, I'm just like, oh, okay. Triple H said, go have fun.
Yes, I definitely, I know from you and I definitely gotta applaud the France crowd there. Just amazing energy and being involved in every match, not letting go. Just pedal to the metal, just showing excitement and call and response with the wrestlers. And it made these, that's the thing. I think for anyone watching, a wrestling match is great, but like a crowd can make it like amazing with their involvement, their participation. So this was a perfect example of that. I mean, hell, the last two backlashes, you could say even for last year in
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, that crowd was
Oh, yeah.
awesome. And I love kind of what WWE is doing as far as like the big four pay-per-views and also Money in the Bank. So I guess 5 premium live events. Those are going to be in North America. And then all the other pay-per-views, if you want to call them B-level pay-per-views, are going to be, for the most part, looks like other parts of the world.
Seems like
And
it.
I think that's cool because, one, keep in mind, what's the first letter in WWE? World. They
Yeah.
are a world company. Triple H is very vocal about being global. 2, it's for a long time, they were so focused on North America, and I get it. WWE is a North American, it's a U.S. company, but there are wrestling fans all around the world who probably never had a chance to see a live WWE show. So now it's cool. They are now spreading their wings and going to different parts of the world.
And you know what really helped with that? It's the launch of the WWE Network and then the Peacock deal, because now people have a way that they can go back and watch it whenever they want. It's not like, all right, it's got to air at this time because people are going to pay their money and they want to see it now. Now with Network or Peacock, you go, oh,
streaming. Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to watch live. I'm already paying for this service. Pay-per-view could, go at any time. And we saw that, what was it, starting in 2018 when they went to Saudi for the first time with the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So,
It's just, and I'm with you as far as I remember when NXT 2.0 started, and it was kind of the end of obviously the black and gold era, but also kind of the end of those special weekends where Saturday was TakeOver, Sunday was the WWE pay-per-view, and it was like combined. That was such an exciting weekend because you had 2 major shows back to back, and for a lot of times, TakeOver was the better show of that weekend. Granted, that was like Triple H's creative versus Vince's creative at the time. But I remember interviewing a lot of NXT superstars, and for a lot of them, their mentality was, we're the first show of the weekend. We got to, set the bar, and if anything, outperform the main roster. So that was, I think, for a lot of years, that was their focus. It's like, let's try to up them and make sure Saturday is the better show of the weekend. And you're right. Like, this had like the total TakeOver vibe, and I kind of noticed that with a lot of these, like I said, B-level pay-per-views for a while now, that they really try to put emphasis on like shorter amount of matches. It's like 5 here, sometimes 6. And while it's not like there's a TakeOver or NXT show this weekend, I like how they make SmackDown feel special in the same city or country. So you still get, instead of Saturday and Sunday back in the day, now it's Friday, Saturday. And it's like a lot of the superstars who are not booked for the premium live event, they get seen on Friday Night SmackDown. Like, so SmackDown last night, you had the tag titles on the line. You had LA Knight there. You had some other the big names who maybe are not going to be wrestling on the pay-per-view, but at least they're going to be seen on Friday. So for a lot of those fans in that country, if they bought tickets for both nights, you're going to see the majority of the roster.
And as we're seeing starting this year, it's not just, oh, well, they're going overseas. They got to do a double taping of SmackDown. That SmackDown the night before is not going to be live. Yesterday, they were live at SmackDown. And I watched SmackDown at 10 a.m. yesterday, because I got a stream from TNT Sports in the UK.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, well, I got websites and apps where I can pull up TV channels from like all over the world. And so I had the thing for TNT Sports. And so I'm like, spoilers are here. I'm not going to post any spoilers, but I posted the link I had. I'm like, if anyone wants to watch right now, here you go. So I posted that out on Twitter. But it's like, we're seeing this weekend, they took SmackDown to France the night before, like you stated. With the next Saudi show at the end of this month, they're doing the first SmackDown from Saudi Arabia as well the night before King and Queen of the Ring. So it's like, there's so much of, like you said, WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. We're such a global brand that no more are we confining ourselves to just North America, Canada, the U.S., and those 3 time zones. We can go anywhere and people are going to watch and whatnot. And they even said that, basically, they said without saying, we were able to make these people pay whatever we wanted, and they paid it, because he's like, this was the highest grossing arena show they've ever done.
Exactly. And it's dumb if they don't do this, expand outward and go to other countries, other continents. You're just leaving money on the table. One, all these different countries who are willing to pay you to come out there. And then two, yes, these are fans who have not seen a WWE live show maybe in ages or ever. So this could be their first time. So they're going to spend big money on those tickets. They're going to spend a lot of money on merch at the arena or WWE shop beforehand and get their shirts ready to go to wear to the show. It's just from a financial standpoint, it is the smart move to, and that way, these like lesser known outside like the big five of WWE, I'm talking about Royal Rumble, Mania, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, the other like 7 months in the year, those, it makes these pay-per-views who in America some people are like, that's a B-level pay-per-view, I may or may not go. But for the rest of the world, this is a big deal. WWE's finally in our country. We better go. We might not see them again for years. So it makes these like lesser known pay-per-views feel like a bigger deal, just the importance of it for them and these people. So it's a smart move. So now every month it feels like a big deal. Like, I mean, if the big five I was just talking about earlier, if they're in stadiums in North America, US and Canada, and then the other ones are in arenas, but the crowd's so hot because it's their first time seeing a show. Dude, every month you're going to have like these amazing shows no matter what. So it's a smart move.
And it kind of threw me off for a second when Michael Cole was running down the upcoming pay-per-view schedule, because he just kept going, in 3 weeks, we're going to be here with this show. And then he goes, in 3 weeks, it's like every 3 weeks there's a pay-per-view now.
Yeah.
Usually it was like a month, maybe 5 weeks. He's like, in 3 weeks, we've got, what's the next one? It's King and Queen of the Ring.
King of the Ring.
He's like, and then in 3 weeks, we got Money in the Bank. And then in 3 weeks, we've got Clash of the Castle. And then in 3 weeks, we got SummerSlam. In 3 weeks, we got Bash of Berlin. And I'm like, dang, they're just rocking and rolling. And then none of these shows are anywhere near each other. Like you said, they're all spread out around the world. And it's awesome to see.
So for us fans watching at home, it's great because we have content to consume every 3 weeks. But then around the world, the show's going to be hot because it's a new fan base, different part of the world. It's not going to get fatigued like it was in the past when it was the US only. So by all means, it's a smart move. So the presentation is going to sound and look amazing with each hot crowd that they have. So, kudos to WWE. And, as The Rock said, wrestling's cool right now. So by all means, if you have a chance to go to a live WWE show, do it. Make it a point. It is fun right now. And Tim, I don't know about you, but it looks like we need to start making plans for Vegas next year.
Oh, so get that out of the way really fast.
Segue. Bam!
So next year, it was announced during the Kentucky Derby pre-show that WrestleMania 41 will in fact be going to Las Vegas. Now, there were a bunch of rumors and reports for the last 6-7 months that Minneapolis, Minnesota thought they were getting it, to the point where about 2 weeks before this year's WrestleMania, there was a city council meeting, I think it was, in Minneapolis, and they said, we also think we have an event coming that is second biggest that you can get for your city to the Super Bowl, but it's not able to be announced yet. So the city of Minneapolis and their event planners thought they had WrestleMania, and they were waiting on WWE to allow them to announce it, and then, apparently Vegas swooped in and said, nope, we're going to give you a better offer to bring it here. Because I guess maybe Vegas saw how well the Super Bowl did for them, and boom. And then the report yesterday before this was officially announced, I forget who it was from. I think it might have been PW Insider. They said that when WWE saw the response they got just for that kickoff event in Vegas for WrestleMania this year, the one that set up the big tag match and everything, they were like, oh, we need to come back to Vegas with something big because they want something big from us here.
Yeah. This year's Super Bowl, I definitely had a little more involvement in. I mean, the radio station I work at, it's a flagship of the Niners. Niners were in the Super Bowl this year. I didn't go to Vegas, but a bunch of my coworkers went, and just seeing them, the content they were getting, it just, Vegas went all out and made this a huge event. I mean, wherever the Super Bowl's at, it's always a big deal. I saw it years ago when they were in Levi's that one year and all the activities were in San Francisco. It takes over the whole city. Like, if you've been to WrestleMania, imagine the NFL and what they do with the Super Bowl times 10, if that. So with that being said, this year with the Super Bowl, the whole presentation in Vegas was amazing. So I'm sure WWE is like, we want that. We can totally get that or come close to doing that. So after, I'm sure the Super Bowl's influence or had major influence on WWE is like, let's maybe, switch it up. And, if Vegas comes through the better offer, let's go over here. And I'm excited. you and I, we're both on the West Coast, so for me, it's much easier to get to Vegas than Minneapolis. So and plus the weather will be better, indoor stadium, air conditioning.
Yeah,
I'm all good. This is a better choice.
Now there is going to be one thing fans are not going to like with the show being in Vegas and Allegiant Stadium. Allegiant Stadium doesn't allow pyro.
Was there? Wow, because I was there, 2021 for SummerSlam.
Yeah. They don't allow pyro in their building.
Interesting. Okay, I guess I.
So we're gonna get a WrestleMania with no pyro unless they strike some deal for like some minimalistic pyro. I don't know, but that's one thing that someone asked me today. Someone asked me today, "How you doing, Mania no pyro?" And I go, "Oh wait, Allegiant doesn't allow it." It may be actually a whole Las Vegas thing. Yeah, because I even know, like, I've been to the NASCAR race there twice. And usually, like, a NASCAR driver will win, and pyro will go off at the track. I've never seen pyro at Vegas Motor Speedway.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's see. Well, I mean, I'm glad they were in Philly this year for Cody finishing the story. His moment would not be as cool without the pyro. That definitely solidified the conclusion of his story with the big pyro moment at the end. So, yeah, unless they have like a really big story beat next year, I would imagine people like fire and pyro, explosions to celebrate. So yeah, it would be kind of a downer if they can't actually do that.
Yeah. So with that, we'll jump into the show here. You said Cody having all that pyro is really cool. What else was really cool was the SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis coming out and saying, "You guys don't care about the rules? Well, this match no longer has rules." So basically, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton come out for their entrance, and Randy Orton, you could tell last night and tonight did not expect the crowd to be singing his song, and he was soaking that in going, "Oh, this is cool. This is really cool." Because we've never heard a crowd sing voices like that before. Like, I think I've heard a crowd try, and it wasn't that good.
I wonder, like, okay, kudos to the fans, because, you're in an arena with a bunch of strangers.
They know every word.
To know every word and be united, especially, jump ahead to Cody, when the Cody theme song ended, they kept singing the rest of the lyrics. So bravo to the French audience there that just knew every word and like did their homework. They studied and were ready to go. So I don't know if someone coordinated all that, but like I said, that was so awesome to see all of them participate like that. And like I said, it just makes every match feel super special, and then it makes the show like just truly memorable moments right there.
So Bloodline make their way down to the ring, and immediately these four men just start fighting, and they're brawling. Officials, referees, producers, agents, they all come out to try to break it up. And also we hear Nick Aldis' voice, and I'm like, oh, I have a feeling. I just had a feeling that he's about to change this match up in some way. And he comes out and goes, "You guys don't care about the rules? Well, how about we take the rules away? No disqualification, no count out. This match is now officially a street fight." And like Kevin Owens and Randy Orton get this look on their face. Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa kind of are like, "Oh, what is this going to mean?" And we're off to the races. They pair off and they start going. Michael Cole and Corey Graves are loving this as well as the crowd starts chanting, "We want Roman" at one point, like they did last night on SmackDown. And I loved last night on SmackDown when they chanted that. And Paul Heyman just goes, "I do too."
Well, that is something I'm curious what's going to happen next with the Bloodline, as far as, it was revealed that he hasn't talked to Roman since WrestleMania, and he lied to Nick Aldis and said Roman wanted to be pulled out of the draft, but really it was Paul Heyman's decision to do so.
So
his body...
Is Paul scared that if Roman sees what's going on with the Bloodline, or is around these new guys and Solo, Tama Tonga, now Tangaloa, that something's going to happen to Roman and he's trying to protect Roman?
Yeah, I'm curious. Or is it a swerve and like Paul is working for someone else,
right?
AKA a final boss who's like giving him direction what to do. But I'm just curious, what is Paul Heyman cooking here as far as what is going on with the Bloodline? Is Paul Heyman just following along because he's worried about his own safety? And he's like, okay, these guys, I've been working with these guys, or at least Solo, for a couple years now. I'm just going to go with the flow, go with what they're doing. Or is he acting scared, but reality, he's all on board with this because he realized Roman Usos and all them, that's old news. They're not good anymore. You know, Roman lost to Cody. Usos are not what they used to be. So he's like, this is the new shiny toy, this evil bloodline that's being assembled here, and he's going to go with them. And then maybe is there a higher power, not to use
Right.
an attitude era term there, but someone really in charge that's like motivating Paul to oversee this, which I kind of wonder is The Rock. I'm just speculating here. I wonder if The Rock is like the in final boss mode. He's in charge of this new bloodline, and Paul Heyman's like executing his orders with them. So I'm just kind of wondering where is this going to go, because I think what's going to happen, Roman's going to come back, huge pop, baby face turn. Usos are going to reunite, and I think we're going to get like good Usos versus bad Usos, or good bloodline versus bad bloodline for like War Games or something like that. Yeah.
And it's just like the whole dynamic is great, because when Roman lost the belt and we hear, oh, Roman's going to take time off, I'm like, ooh, what does the bloodline do? Like, I almost didn't have faith. Now I'm still loving it. Everything they're doing right now. I'm like, well, this is still great. They've figured out how, even with Roman not being the champion and Roman being away, to keep the bloodline still interesting in a new way. So I really got to give them their props on that, for keeping, it's not just like, oh, all right, we finished the story, no pun intended for Cody or anything, but now they got to, go their own way. Solo's going to do this and Roman's going to be gone. And no, they've kept the bloodline going, and now there's a whole new dynamic to it that is so awesome, because we didn't see it coming this way. And it's just, what Bloodline's been a thing since 2020.
Yes.
When they started the whole Jay
August
and Roman
2020.
stuff. Yeah, when they started Jay and Roman stuff. And so we've had the bloodline with the Roman version for 4 years, and now we've got the like everyone's calling it, the new bloodline, and it's just like awesome. I love it. As far as this match does go, wild brawls everywhere. Owens gave Tama Tonga a splash off the barricade. Orton stood on the barricade as if he was going to do one himself, and then just like, I'm going to step right off. I loved it. They chanted for Orton as he gave Tama Tonga a back suplex onto the announce table. He then gave Solo one as well. Also, Solo's just growing that hair up. That hair's just going up. And I'm like, hey, he's supposed to be wild and crazy, so I like it.
I tweeted out, I love the mohawk. Like, I want to see Solo front a punk band, sing for a punk band or something. I think it would be badass, hardcore punk band, just barefoot on stage. Like, I love like Solo's hair just going out of control, full mohawk mode.
I didn't take a good look at Tangaloa's hair, but can we say that there's like a what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Because him and Tama Tonga have the same haircut.
Yeah, it's almost like a unison look. Yeah.
So at one point, Randy Orton waxed Tama Tonga in the head with the trash can lid. Owens did the same to Sikoa. There were ECW chants here as well. Owens and Orton used kendo sticks before grabbing a table, to the delight of the fans. Owens then put Tama Tonga on the table and did a frog splash off the apron through the table, which got a huge pop from the crowd. Also, I don't know exactly what point in the match this was, but WWE's digital team got a great picture of Paul Heyman, where like you can tell this is like midpoint of the match, because all the Prime bottles that are over next to the announce table are now up in the aisle, and Paul Heyman is looking up like Jesus save me, and there's just the big Backlash banner behind him, and it's like, this is an awesome photo, because you can see there's carnage around him. It's like stuff's been going on, and he's just asking for like safety.
Exactly. But this match was a lot of fun. It was just under 20 minutes, but if you count like the entrances and all the stuff and the chaos beforehand, it was like nearly the first 40 minutes of the show. But it was just nonstop action. It never let up. It never got like boring or downtime. So I just love the intensity there. I was a little curious though. The trash cans that they brought up from under the ring, there was no handles on those trash can lids.
You want to get hit in the head with the handle?
But still, man, like kayfabe, like what kind of or real life situation? Like these where are the handles on these trash cans?
Are the announce tables just saying "screw you, Randy Orton" in the RKO? Because now this is the second time. WrestleMania, he did the RKO to I Show Speed, table didn't break. And tonight he does the RKO on the table doesn't break.
Yes, I know. Yeah, it's all that too, and it's like, well, maybe post surgery he's not able to deliver it as good as he used to. So maybe that's a
Corey
story
Grace mentioned that he's like, oh, Randy Orton doing that RKO on the table. He's got a surgically repaired back, and the way that table does, he said something along the lines of the way the table just doesn't give is not good for him.
In real talk, like I'm curious if Randy can explain that. Like what's better, just landing on the table and just table doesn't fall apart, or is it better if it falls apart?
I would think
like,
that the break.
So it like kind of absorbs it downward for him. Okay. And then but Tama, what I love about his presentation thus far is his intensity, this ruthlessness. He would not give up. He's just attacking. He's like just an evil, sorry, pit bull lovers. He's like a pit bull. Like he would not give up and just is going at it nonstop.
I will say, to take it one step farther. So in the past, I've said Tama Tonga reminds me of like a Randy Orton. He's like the Randy Orton of New Japan. And I'll say he can slither around the ring like a snake better than Randy Orton. Like when he does that thing where he's like, when he does that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
dude, he's
more snakish. He's more snakish than the Viper.
Dude, like, Tama, like in New Japan, when he come down to the ring, he's smooth, man. He's got, like his whole vibe. Like
he's always had like the perfect, I don't want to say Scott Hall, the bad guy charisma, but he's always had like, I'm a cool bad guy charisma that's perfect.
But yeah, it's like his body language, the way he just like his body movement is smooth, and it's like I'm sleeking my way into the ring here, and like I'm gonna slither my way to just take you all out. So I just love how they made him feel like a big deal here, because that's, you look online, people's like, oh, he's just been a mid-carder in New Japan or tag team guy, but here he's already feels like a big deal. And so
he helped create one of the biggest things New Japan ever had, and that's the Bullet Club.
Oh, absolutely. So if anything, if those values are, is that the right term? I'm trying to think, but like that mentality of what like the early years, the Bullet Club, that foundation, if he can bring that over to like rejuvenate the bloodline in some way, I'm all for this. Because the bloodline, I would say the second half of 2023, it really jumped the shark in many ways. And so now, if his involvement and his presentation can help kind of rejuvenate the bloodline throughout the rest of this year, I'm all for it.
Also, getting back to the match a little bit, there are a lot of chairs used in this match. I know at one point, Solo Sikoa also cleared off the announce table, and this is what I was talking about with the RKO. He goes to give Randy Orton the Samoan Spike, RKO instead. Table doesn't break. Owens hit Tama Tonga in the back with 4 different chairs in the ring. He then set them up, standing up. He made like a table out of the chairs, goes to the top rope. They battle for a moment. He does the avalanche fisherman's buster through the table, goes for the pin. 1, 2, ref gets pulled out of the ring. And I'm like, wait, who is that? Because at first my thought it was Jacob Fatu. And I'm like, that's not Jacob Fatu. Oh my God. And then when I realized it, literally, I'm sitting at the bleachers at my son's esports tournament, and I just give oh shit, and run out of the gym. And people are looking at me like, the hell's going on with this guy? And so I'm sitting here going, oh my God, that's Tangaloa. And then they do the thing. Bloodline wins with the help from Tangaloa. And I'm like, oh man, this is huge. I need to make a video now. So I'm sitting there at the basketball court. She's like, we got breaking news, big debut. I'm like, I'm just making a video now, because this is, to me, having both Gorillas of Destiny now in WWE is a big thing, because they've always been one of my favorite tag teams.
Yeah, it's really cool that 2 of the original members of Gorilla Destiny, I mean, obviously the younger brother and El Fantasma, I was like, with the guy, with the other little guy, I mean, they kind of been carrying the name lately. But no, for the 2 of them in WWE, it's amazing, because you and I, you were with me, right, at the Cow Palace, where they kind of first debuted, or when they kind of split off from Bullet Club, when they were like, when they beat up Kenny and the Bucks, we're like, oh, you're not Bullet Club no more. You want to call yourselves the Elite? Well, we're the real Bullet Club. Yeah. And Haku was there. It was the Bullet Club Civil War between Kenny and Cody. Yeah. But then they came out and they're almost like created like a third. Well, because remember, we all ran to the back to go get interviews after the match, and they're like, something's going on. Tama Tonga's in the ring, and people we're like, what? So we all run back across the hallway. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And they kind of had their own little new faction in New Japan. So now it's cool that that's now the two guys of originally did that are now in WWE and now part of the bloodline and kind of giving some fresh blood, no pun intended, for the bloodline.
What do you think of Michael Cole? Also, last thing about New Japan, Michael Cole out here referencing, Tama Tonga, founding member of the bloodline, had great matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling with Shingo and Evil of all people to mention.
Either kudos to Michael Cole for doing his research and just being ready, or whoever giving him those names just to make sure he's ready to go to name drop them those little Easter eggs.
The Shingo name drop is very topical because more recent, before he left New Japan, he was fighting Shingo over the the never open weight championship, and they traded that title back and forth a few times. So that one's topical and it's more recent, but it's like Evil, House of Torture's Evil. Also, Tama Tonga did botch his entrance here. If you haven't seen the alternate camera angle. So the rest counting 1, 2, Tama Tonga slides out from under the ring and he's got this like towel over his head. I don't know if it's supposed to be there, but it seems like it confuses him. He like rips it off his head and the ref's got to slide his way out because he knows he's supposed to be pulled out. And he's like, no one's pulling me. So from the camera angle they got, it was perfect. It looked like it was timed well, but Tama Tonga was off just barely. Or take a low, I mean.
Yeah. So kudos to the ref for knowing his spot, what he was supposed to do, and just
if you look at him, he's already half hanging out of the ring because he knows what's supposed to happen. So it wasn't hard for him to just dead weight and just slide.
Yeah, like half his legs were hanging outside the ring, and so he just started naturally.
The way it looks was, someone hit my foot. It's him. I gotta go.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, I would love to like the magician learning the tricks. I'm curious. Does he have like a TV under the ring? He can kind of.
I know in the past they've had the monitor down there with them.
Yeah. That's cool. So, but yeah, it's like I hope there was no delay. That's why it was like he was off by like 2 seconds.
Oh, it could have been. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So
he had the Peacock feed up instead of the in-building feed. They had it on the wrong channel. But you would also think he can feel or hear 1, 2 smacking that mat right above him. But
I would think when you hear 1 start moving, and then 2 during 2, that's when you're climbing out. Yeah. So
it happens though.
Yeah,
it happens, and you're only going to know about that if you go on Twitter or TikTok, and the angle they got was perfect. So afterwards, they all do the finger deal. What do we call that? Just raise the finger. I don't know. The bloodline salute.
Pull my finger.
They do that. We see Paul Heyman at one point. He kneels down next to a fallen Kevin Owens, and then he eventually joins up with the rest of the bloodline. I thought this was fan-freaking-tastic. Like, this couldn't have gone any better. And as soon as they said street fight, I was like, oh, this is gonna rule. And this match was everything I wanted and more.
Yeah, and I was talking to our buddy Phil from the Bulletcast. He brought up a good point. Everyone was so focused thinking Jacob Fatu was going to debut here. No one had any idea or a second thought about Tama's brother showing up here.
Because everyone thought his contract wasn't up yet. No one, because Hikuleo, there's interest. At least there was a year ago from WWE on Hikuleo, and his contract's not up till June.
Yeah. So it for us as fans who had no idea, it was a pleasant surprise to see him. Like, oh my God. And that's cool. I mean, I think that's kind of like one of the new philosophies Triple H and his creative team have. They want to, make sure there's not so much leaks going out there and want to create as many surprises as they can, going back to like CM Punk, Survivor Series, War Games, all that stuff. And I'm all for it because it takes me back to being in the 90s when I was a kid and wasn't reading all that stuff and just enjoying what was on my TV screen. So I'm all for it.
So we move forward. We have a triple threat for the WWE Women's Championship. It's Bayley defending against Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. I love this match too. I thought this match was very good. I'm like, triple threat, okay, they're going to do the spots and stuff where 2 team up while 1's on the outside, and then they shift it around. But there was a lot of the 3 of them working together throughout this match instead of the whole 2 and then shift somebody in and wait for 1 and this and that. So I appreciated this was a better dynamic than the normal, I'll just say it, WWE triple threat match. And
the formula. Yeah.
So there was some early 3-way spots, like I mentioned. Stratton got the early control. Bailey tried fighting hard back, but Stratton hit an Alabama slam. I like she does that cartwheel into the Alabama slam. That's really cool.
Yeah. Dude, Tiffany Stratton, definitely the crowd loved. I mean, first off, the crowd loved Bailey doing the who, ha, oh, I want to know, will you be my girl? The UK crowd always does it for it. I love it. Like 10 plus years later, they're still doing that for Bailey's, and it makes sense now. You know, she's a baby face right now again, so it's perfect timing. Cool first show for her post WrestleMania as the WWE Women's Champion. The crowd give her that response. You could tell she was playing into it. She was like clapping her hands, like getting amped up before the match. And then, yes, just the dynamic for Tiffany Stratton as well. Another breakout moment, if you want to call that. I mean, going back to Elimination Chamber. Here she's been money so far, no pun intended. Like, I'll just throw it out there. She's my early prediction to win Money in the Bank this year.
That's a good one.
I mean, for how fast Tiffany has gotten over with the fans, even though she's a heel, the crowd loves her. The international crowds, I guess you could say.
Now, here's my question for you, though.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Tiffany Stratton with that briefcase or Chelsea Green?
I know
From a
Chelsea
comedy standpoint, she would be perfect with the briefcase.
True. But for Tiffany, I'm thinking, they can make her like a pink briefcase, kind of like how Damien had the purple briefcase. Like, how many of those would sell pink briefcases at the WWE shop? So Chelsea's great because with the comedic stuff, but then I wonder with Chelsea, if she had it, it'd almost be like the chance of her being successful cash-in are probably like 50-50, if that. So with Tiffany, if she had it, I can see it's a guaranteed win for her at some point. Hell, I mean, I could see she could be the kind of person that could cash in that same night. And that would be very interesting if she did cash in on Bailey. Because remember, Bailey, she won and used it on Charlotte years ago. Went in that same night, if I remember. So, it'd be interesting to see what they do. I mean, but Tiffany's star power has risen drastically in the last few months. You can't deny it. And while, yes, I think early on, Chelsea Green was maybe like an early favorite for this year, I think Tiffany has definitely passed her. And nonetheless, I'm already looking forward to Money in the Bank this year.
And even in a loss, Naomi's the one that took the pin tonight. So
yes,
not Tiffany.
That was it. Yeah, and so they definitely protected Tiffany. But even like it was not a clear like finisher for Bailey. It was like a quick roll up. So in some ways, from that mindset, you can say Naomi was protected as well. It was just like a quick roll up. It wasn't like this super like. So that kind of protected Naomi as well in this match. So Bailey got the win, got the retain. Tiffany nowhere near the pin, so she still looks strong. But Naomi, you can make the argument like, you just quickly had a quick roll up on me. You had me by that much today. Yeah, like so. Could this where they go from here? That's going to be interesting. You know, we saw on SmackDown, Bianca is still hesitant of being around Bailey in the same room or even tagging with her, which I appreciate that dynamic. Like Bianca has a lot of history with Damage Control and Bailey specifically, their rivalry a couple years ago. So very much like Jey Uso when he went to Raw, and a lot of people didn't trust him at first. He had to pay his dues again. He had to make up for all the bad things he did with the bloodline. So Bailey, kind of like a similar situation as far as members of the roster that she wronged back in the day with Damage Control. She has to what's the term? She has to go through it. Or what's the?
I know what you're trying to say.
Pay for her sins in some ways. That's what I'm kind of getting at here. But
reconcile relationships, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But also think about it. The Bianca Bailey story goes even farther back before the bloodline, before Bailey got hurt when she was gone, and then brought in the bloodline.
That's right. She did beat her early on.
Yeah.
Yes, when Bianca was champion. After beating Sasha, it was Bailey. One of the first opponents after that, and then
I remember Bailey and Bianca were working a program, and then Bailey got hurt.
Yeah, because that was so. Bianca, Sasha, WrestleMania 2021. Then Bailey right after. Bailey got hurt summer 2021. Came back SummerSlam 2022. So a full year later. So you're right. So they had two separate programs. Pre-injury and then right after. So. But yeah, I'm that dynamic, that story beat moving forward on, how is Bailey gonna reconcile with Bianca if that's the direction they're gonna go? How's she gonna get her like, hey, I'm sorry, I did some bad things, forgive me, let's work this out, if that's the direction they're gonna go on SmackDown moving forward?
So when I talked about, Tiffany had a great Alabama slam in the ring. She did the cartwheel into it. Didn't have great Alabama slams out of the ring. I felt like when she gave them to Naomi and Bailey on the tables, she kind of just like, I don't want to hurt them, and more set them on the table than slammed them on the edge of the table. Still looked good. Yeah. And so they're fighting. She throws them both in the ring. She tries to go for the double. I guess you'd call it a double. Prettiest moonsault ever. Bailey, Naomi moves. She rolls through it, runs at them. They give her a 3D kind of looking move. Michael Cole, of course, calls it the 1D for the Usos. We get a "This is awesome" chant. Tiffany gets thrown out of the ring. Bailey and Naomi go at it. And then, like you said, Bailey kind of just catches her, rolls her up, and pins her out of nowhere. And then really cool of Naomi afterwards being like, you got me. Yeah. I'm going to recognize you as the champion. So...
yeah, no, very, very hearty moment there as far as, because Naomi is a baby face, Bailey's a baby face. Yep. So it's like, you had me today. Let's hug it out. Good matchup. Good sportsmanship right there.
So we move on to another title match. It's the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Damian Priest versus Jey Uso. This match was really good as well. Like, again, when I said earlier, this show gave me takeover vibes. Takeover vibes as far as like every match was good. Now, up to this point, I said every match was great to super great. And then we had the women's tag match after this that they got lost a couple of times. Still not a bad match or anything. And then we get what I would say is a match of the year contender in the main event. But this match here, Damian Priest, Jey Uso, did way more than just a really good title match. It also showed us that Judgment Day implosion is coming at any time.
Yeah, that's so going into this match, as far as what we've seen on Raw the last couple of weeks, like Damian Priest as champion, it's almost like he's more confident now. I don't know if cocky is the word, but he's like, hey, I'm champion. I don't need you guys. You guys need to, like, because they were like losing. So you guys need to figure it out.
He told Dom, you need me more than I need you.
Exactly. So in his mind, he's like, I'm the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I'm one of the best right now. You guys need to come to my level. And like, I don't need your help. And so, yes, that tension, especially with that Rhea there, something's going to happen in Judgment Day sooner than later. And what Dominic is doing, behind the scenes with Liv Morgan and other deals is Dom is plotting something, something in the near future. What that is, we shall see. But for tonight, or excuse me, this morning for us. But the match itself was really cool. Like, I like Damian coming out. He's starting to. I was worried.
Was that new music?
Yes, he had some new music. Yeah. Him coming out, I was like, is he gonna feel like a big deal? And I felt like his presentation, he did feel like a big deal in his ring, his intensity as well. Telling Jay to get up after he was like doing the spin kicks on him a couple times. Like, he was like being a badass in the ring. He's like, I'm the world heavyweight champion, Jay. Come on, you want some of this? I'm gonna take it out on you. So I really did enjoy Damian's presentation here, as far as, because I feel like no matter what, that title is always going to feel second place to the WWE Championship, the one that Cody has. So it's really going to take a lot of effort from whoever the current champion is to maintain somewhat at the top with whoever the WWE Champion is. So Damian, to his credit, this show at least, while it was the third match on the show, I felt like Damian really did a good job of like hey, I know Cody's WWE champion. I'm the world heavyweight champion. I'm just as a big deal as him. So that's what I was going for with the presentation here. I was enjoying that and the intensity in this match. And I'm glad he got this win here. He really needed it just to kind of solidify his first major title defense here. And now, with the Judgment Day guys trying to help out and almost cost him the match. Yeah. But nonetheless, he was still able to pull off the victory. And then this creates tension moving forward on Raw. Be like, guys, you almost cost me this title here. Cut that ass out. And
if it wasn't for JD, he would have lost the title.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's the double dynamic there of, yes, we almost screwed up, but you did need us.
And we at the end of the day, we got the job done.
Yep. So Jey Uso had a great entrance where he came out through the crowd. Triple H stated in the post-show press conference, because someone asked him, what's your single favorite moment of the show? And he goes, it may be the Jey Uso entrance. the way that crowd was into it, they were going crazy. So yeah, and if you saw the video of Jey Uso, I guess he did a dark match after SmackDown, and he, came out and the crowd was just going crazy for him there. So very cool to see that Jey Uso is not just an Uso anymore. He's got his own thing going. He's a single star. And I did like the narrative of, I think it was Corey Graves mentioned this. He goes, Jey Uso is trying to win his first singles championship. Yes, Damian Priest is the world heavyweight champion, but he's also won singles championships before winning this title. So maybe you could say he's had even more success as Jey Uso. Because if you remember, NXT North American champion, United States champion. As far as
I'm with you as far as, for me, okay, Jey Uso, let's look at Jey Uso, the character, real quick. One of the good things about the Bloodline storyline from the last 3-4 years is help push up members of the Bloodline who were maybe mid-carders before, but have, because of being involved with Roman in this Bloodline storyline, have become bigger deals, have moved on up in the card. Jey Uso being one of them. Obviously, his name, main event Jey Uso now. My only concern is, okay, he has this momentum being elevated to the main event scene, but at some point he needs to win something to kind of solidify this was all for nothing. Whether at some point, if since he's staying on Raw, if at some point maybe an IC title win at some point, that could be something. Him and Sami Zayn, they do have history together, obviously with the Bloodline. They're bros. That could be something down the road as a story beat.
I got it. Have him go out there and get that speed title from Ricochet.
Exactly. But yes, but Jey, I think at some point does need a singles title, or I felt like these last couple years of what he's evolved with his character has been all for nothing. Yeah. So I do hope he does win a singles title. Maybe I'm just throwing this out there. Sami Zayn, current champion. Maybe Chad takes it off him. Jey goes after him for revenge on his buddy.
Maybe he injures Sammy, and that's why Jey wants to get the revenge on Chad.
Exactly. Or Sheamus. I think a big story beat WWE can use at some point is Sheamus winning an IC title. It's the last title he has yet to win to be an official Grand Slam champion. So maybe he defeats it off Sammy, and then Jey goes after Sheamus. I mean, I feel like someone's going to take it off Sammy at some point in the near future. Jey could be the one to take it off that person.
They'd be the transitional champion for Jey Uso.
Exactly. Yeah.
So early on, Damian Priest was in control, driving Jey Uso into the barricade. Jey fought back with some strikes, a thrust kick, an uppercut, an enziguri, and a flying crossbody. As the referee is checking on Damian Priest, outruns JD McDonough. He shows up, gets caught with the super kick by Jey Uso. Priest then takes the advantage. Well, tries to take the advantage and then gets a spear. I'm just going to say it. Not a big fan of Jey Uso's spear. It just doesn't really look all that great.
It looks so soft. The Capello.
Yeah. Because most of these guys, like Braun Breaker for one, looks like they're trying to run through you. But Jay's more is just like, I'm going to bump you. I'm going to bump into you.
I'm going to casually jump in the air and hug you and bring you down.
So they're going at it. Priest starts yelling at JD once he realizes that JD's out there. He's like, I don't need you here. What are you doing here? I told you not to come out here.
Yeah.
Jey then follows this up. Well, actually, so JD then says, watch your back or something like that. And so turns around, but he gets hit with the super kick. Jey follows this up with the Uso splash for a 2. The crowd then starts doing the yeet, no yeet as they're throwing strikes back and forth. Priest gets him up for the Razor's Edge, only gets a 2 off of it. Jey blocked the choke slam attempt. Spear, another near fall. As Priest is down, all of a sudden, Finn Balor jumps to the barricade, runs out, tries to make the assist, but takes a super kick on the apron. Priest then follows up with the South of Heaven choke slam for a near fall. The crowd then explodes when Jey kicks out of that. Priest then hit a couple kicks to the head, and this is when he's yelling at Jey. He's like, rise, let me get you again. And then when he does the rise, bitch. So eventually, he tries to go for a third kick. Jey, I think, spears him off of that one, goes for Uso splash, and that's when JD barely was able to grab the leg, put it on the bottom rope, and say, ref his foot, ref his foot, ref his foot. So the ref stops the count and everything. But for some reason, Priest is still mad at him. Jey eventually wipes out JD with a dive. He goes for a spear on Balor. Jey then went back into the ring, and the two are fighting on the top rope before he takes the South of Heaven choke slam from the top rope and gets pinned in the middle of the ring. Now, this is all post-match. Like, the match itself was amazing. I had a great time with the match, but it's more about the post-match because Balor and McDonough, who they're kind of making Finn Balor look just like a whatever guy here, but him and JD just go, he's down, let's keep beating him up. And Damian walks over and throws JD, and I'm like, whoa. And then when he grabs Finn and throws Finn, and I'm like, oh crap. He goes, we don't need to be doing this. He's already taken care of. Let's move on. And so they're like, okay. Soon as Damian Priest turns his back, they're on Jay again, beating him. And he does it again. He grabs them both. It's like, stop. We don't need to be like this anymore. And that was the thing. He's like, we don't need to be like this. And I'm like, oh, he wants a new version of Judgment Day. Like, they're not going to go full baby face, but it's like, why do we need to take things a step further when they don't need to be?
Yeah, I'm with you though. Finn Balor feels like such a side piece right now and not like a main event player anymore.
Yeah.
And I know he just re-signed with the company and everything, but I feel like Finn's stock is kind of down a little bit as far as I get it. Like Judgment Day early on, they're like, we're all leaders. There's not one particular leader. But then that became like a story beat, though. Is Rhea the leader? Is Damian the leader? Kind of like the back and forth, like who's calling shots, and the other one's like, wait, you didn't consult me on this one. So now we're at a point now where it's like Damian is definitely the clear leader. He's the world heavyweight champion. Rhea's injured, gone off TV right now. But yeah, Finn just feels like less than like. It just doesn't feel as important as he once did. So I'm with you, though, as far as it's interesting what's going to happen next as far as Damian and Finn's dynamic, where they go from here. Is, does Damian eventually get jumped out? Does he become a babyface in this? But then does Finn stay being a heel? That's going to be interesting where they're going to go here with this. But yes, it is really weird, just the dynamic of what Finn's placement is right now with WWE.
So Finn is going to be in the King of the Ring tournament. They did announce in the first round he's taking on Drew McIntyre. There ain't no way Drew McIntyre loses that match. No. Finn, I mean, all these matches they announced, at least on the men's side, some of the women's matches, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like most of these matches are predictable, but like, especially on the women's side, but like, on the men's side, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, probably Drew. Kofi Kingston, Rey Mysterio. I could see that going either way. Most likely Rey Mysterio. The one that I do not know where they go. And I think, because this is my prediction of winning the whole thing, Gunther and Sheamus. I say Gunther only because I think Gunther wins the entire King of the Ring.
Yes, I'm with you. I early prediction, I think Gunther wins the whole King of the Ring. And they use that as a stepping stone to solidify, okay, he's coming off the longest IC title reign, but now he's the King of the Ring winner. That's a stepping stone to the main event world title picture scene, like how it was in the 90s with the King of the Ring. Winning the King of the Ring back in the day when I was a kid, that was like the next best thing to like winning the Royal Rumble. Now, the Royal Rumble was a title shot at Mania. King of the Ring was like that propelled you up into the main event scene, and you were destined for a world title picture, world title shot.
Unless you're the one Billy Gunn. He won King of the Ring and they did nothing.
Yeah. I love the video package that they had during the show for this to promote King of the Ring, which I was shocked. They showed Owen Hart. I was like, whoa.
I was too.
I mean, I know Owen's a former King of the Ring winner, but hey, they have a ton of other winners to use old videos of. But the fact they include Owen Hart
in King Mabel.
But I mean, to show Stone Cold, obviously iconic. Austin 316 was born. Shot at Bret Hart, Triple H, Kurt, Booker T. I was like, I'm glad they had this video package to show how prestige the King of the Ring once was. And obviously with this new era, I know that's a phrase they keep using, the new era for WWE.
AEW's using it too now.
But I feel like Triple H, who's a former King of the Ring winner, I'm glad he's going to put some stock back into what King of the Ring was or what it used to be.
Just running through these other King of the Ring matches really fast. The last one we didn't talk about, Ricochet and Ilya Dragunov. I can kind of see it going either way. Most likely Ilya Dragunov, though, coming out of the first round. And these are just first round on the Raw side. We don't know the SmackDown side yet. As far as the women do go, Zoe Stark and Ivy Nile. Zoe? You think Zoe over Ivy Nile in the first round?
Let me see. Yes. Yes. I would think, yeah. Well, but see, Ivy, they kind of been using her with the Alpha Academy, Dupree. I'm kind of leaning towards Zoe just because, she was a former number one contender last year against Rhea Ripley. So maybe we'll reset her a little bit.
The one that I'm really not sure about, Zelina and Shayna Baszler, because like Zelina's the last queen of the ring or the queen's crown winner. When you have Shayna Baszler, it's like people are going to be mad when Zelina beats Shayna in this tournament.
But Shayna, man, back in the day on Triple H's Black and Gold era, that was his.
That's why I'm thinking, could this be like a resurgence to have Shayna go through this king or queen of the ring tournament and be like, maybe not win it, but like build her back up?
Yeah, I'm all for Shayna.
Yeah.
And then, Io versus Natty.
Probably
definitely Io has to win. And then, God, Asuka versus.
That's a tough one. Asuka and Lyra. It's like,
I love Asuka.
Lyra's new on the main roster, but Asuka.
I mean, what better way for her to call up to get
beat Asuka?
That? Yeah, beat Asuka. Big push right off the bat there. I mean, Carmelo challenged Cody.
Yep.
Had a great main event on SmackDown a couple weeks ago. That's how you establish all these new stars coming up from NXT. You got to give them some big wins over the veterans, and I could see Valkyria winning here just to establish her as an important piece for the future.
They didn't say which matches are taking place on Monday, but they said some of these first round matches will be coming Monday on Monday Night Raw. So we'll figure it out and see what matches are Monday and what matches get pushed back. Remember, there's 3 weeks till the finals of this tournament to crown the winner and stuff. So they got to kind of, in my opinion, rush through this a little bit.
Didn't I specify, is it just the finals for men and women at the premium live event?
That's what Michael Cole said, but if you remember back in the day, it used to be the semis and then the finals at the pay-per-view.
Yes, I loved was it Bret Hart? He won 3 matches in one night to become King of the Ring. Like I loved with the King of the Ring. It was just like a night of tournament match after tournament match. And so Austin, coming down by the main event, kind of beaten down. Like that's a story there in one night.
When Brock won in 2002, they had to work 2 matches that night because him and Rob Van Dam in the finals there. I forget who their other matches were, but I remember they had to work other matches, and then the finals were RVD and Brock Lesnar, and the whole thing was like RVD was more beat up from his match than Brock was and stuff.
Exactly.
So.
I love that those one night only stories of like what hell of an opening match. Then the next match took even more out of them. Now can they gut it out for one more for the King of the Ring title? So I'm all for that.
Like you brought up with Austin, the whole thing with Austin was Austin had to go to the hospital between his matches and didn't even hear Jake Snake bring up 316, and then he just someone said it to him and he's just, you say your 316s.
So I'm all for that. Now, granted, it's in Saudi, so maybe Saudi wants a little variety on the show, like some other type of matches. So maybe they'll add some other stuff. But yeah, do like semis and finals, so maybe each person has to wrestle a couple times in one night. So give me that at least.
I'm trying to look up the last tournament to see if they did 2 on the same night. It was 2001. The semis took place on Raw and SmackDown. The finals were at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. So the last time they did it, it was only the final match.
What year was that?
2001.
Oh, 2001. Okay.
When Xavier won and Zelina won.
Okay. Well, that was old regime. Yeah. So maybe Triple H is like, back in my day, he had to wrestle multiple times in one night.
Hopefully. Remember, they've said in the past, Triple H even said it, he loves the King of the Ring tournament.
I know. So I do too.
He's wanted it back for a while.
Yep. I'm very happy for that.
I even heard that's kind of why he created the Mae Young Classic as like an NXT version of King of the Ring for the women.
Exactly. And, I know the G1 in New Japan is a big deal every year. And but that takes place over the course of a month. I know that's like the greatest tournament every single year,
and it's different because it's the point system instead of just winning you're in or losing you're out or whatever, elimination.
True. And then AEW with the Continental Classics has their version of that. But for King of the Ring, I always like that was WWE's version of a tournament for a big prize. So I'm glad that's back.
And for the most part, not in recent memory, it really, like you said earlier, built people up. I don't think it did really anything for William Regal, for Sheamus, for Baron Corbin when they all won it. But
even Xavier, other than Roman stomping on the crown.
Oh yeah, he got that goofy big crown.
And then Zelina Vega with a goofy accent for a while.
Oh Lord, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So, speaking of tournament winners, we got a former tournament winner in this next match. Kairi Sane and Asuka defending the women's tag team titles. Remember, Kairi won the Mae Young Classic in the past. But they were defending the women's tag team titles against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Now, the match itself went 17 and a half minutes. And nothing against the match. I thought the match was good. But there were a couple times where they got lost. Like, there was at least one point towards the end. So, Jade, they kept her out of this match for the most part. I'm like, oh my God, do they really not trust her? She did, literally. So, it starts off and Bianca's just getting beat down. And eventually, Bianca tags Jade in. Kairi runs at Jade. She, like, wraps her arms around her. And Jade goes, huh, and just throws Kairi off of her. Then Kairi runs into her. I guess it was supposed to maybe be a shoulder tackle. I don't know. But Kairi just runs into her. She bumps off of Jade, and Michael Cole has to go, Jade's super strong. But so they're fighting and everything. Eventually, Bianca gets tagged back in, and they keep doing the whole thing of Bianca's this close. Bianca's this close. Nope, someone's going to pull her away or stop the thing. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? And at one point, Kairi was in the ring, I think with Jade maybe, and she takes her down, goes for the pin, and the ref's like, you're not legal. You're not the legal one. So you would think, get out of the ring, bring Asuka in. No. Asuka gets up on the apron and goes, tag me. If Asuka's the legal one, why does Asuka need to be tagged back in? That made no sense.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. This match did fall apart a couple times, as you said. And it wasn't necessarily Jade's part. I think a lot of people might early on say, it was Jade. She's green. No, it was, I think in this.
It might have been Kairi, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, and it could have also been the ref. Like the ref, maybe this spot was supposed to be done differently, and the ref was just like, well, this is where we're supposed to do it or something. I don't know. Because then, like, Asuka tags herself in, and I'm just like, why does Asuka need to tag herself in? And Corey Gary goes, Asuka with a tag to make herself legal. or something like that, because then, like, Kairi immediately gets tagged back in. I'm like, what are we doing here? So there's a couple things, because, like, the ref's like, because it was weird, because the ref goes, you're not the legal one. You can't go for the pin. Kairi freezes for a second and then puts on an armbar. What? And then she does it again later where, like, she goes for she looks like she's going to go for a pin, freezes, and then puts on an armbar. And I'm like, what are we doing here, Kairi Sane? Like, it didn't feel like any of this was Jade's fault, like you said. Like,
exactly.
It can't be Jade's fault when they have her doing 4 moves.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, for Jade, I guess, for her, in order to protect her, they just have Bianca take the punishment, Jade get the hot tag, and make the save for the win here. It's interesting, though. They really put the rocket to Jade here because, she had the Royal Rumble match. She had, like, the one squash match on SmackDown. She had the WrestleMania match. So this is what her 4th televised match, I believe.
WWE, Jade Cargill.
I mean, I'm sure they've done house shows with her.
Yeah, she
already.
She had her house show debut. The show's the week after Mania, I want to say it was.
Okay.
She was like the main name they were advertising for him.
Cool. So for Jade, it's I guess they're trying to, like, protect her to a certain extent, but it's. I know she said in the press conference she has the machine behind her, so I'm really, like, excited to see what they have for Jade next. I think it's a smart move to put Bianca right now, and hopefully this time with Bianca is really going to help sharpen her skills in the ring. And eventually, I'm guessing one's going to turn on the other, and they're going to have an epic rivalry between the two of them. Maybe that will be the WrestleMania match next year for the two of them.
That'd be cool.
I still want to see Bianca versus Rhea at some point. That's money right there too. But for right now, I think they're really being patient and handling Jade with kid gloves right now, just to really make sure they don't want to screw this up. They know she's going to be a big deal, and so I think they're doing a really nice job of taking care of her and building her up as really the next big thing for them.
So this is her 6th televised match.
6, okay.
The Royal Rumble, then WrestleMania, The night after that, she had the Chelsea Green squash.
Okay.
Her and Bianca then defeated Chelsea Green and Piper Niven that week on SmackDown. Then last night they had the 8-woman tag or whatever it was. The 8-woman tag last night.
Yep.
And then the title match tonight at the pay-per-view. So 6th
Gotcha.
televised match. And she's now got a title, which means, and not any title, it's the women's tag titles, which can go on either brand. So we could see Jade and Bianca show up on both Raw and SmackDown any given week.
And that's great for both shows. There's star power, Jade star power. So yeah, I'm all for it.
So as far as like the finish of this match and everything goes, Sane hit Belair with an insane elbow, but Cargill broke up the cover. Cargill then caught Sane off the top rope effortlessly, transitioning it into the Jaded. Bianca then hits the KOD to Asuka on top of Kairi. Goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. New women's tag team champions.
I was gonna say that other move a little bit earlier before that, where Bianca kicked, or was it Jade that kicked Kairi into the suplex?
Oh yeah,
that was like a killer finisher right there.
Right.
Or excuse me, that could have been like a killer finisher. I get it. They had something else planned, but that move set right there, that was pretty cool. That could be a potential finisher, but the spot with Kairi and Jade, very much, it was cool. She did a similar thing with Sky Blue and AEW.
Yes.
So, but this time around, Kairi sold it like $1 million and make Jade look like just a monster with that whole transition in the air.
So yeah, great that they have new tag team champions. Don't know, how they're going to use them going forward. Who can be their first or next challengers? Again, it's all up to interpretation because they can go to Raw, they can go to SmackDown. Hell, they can even put them on NXT if they wanted to, since those titles can go anywhere.
Oh wow, that would be cool. Like one night only on NXT, like a special appearance. Yeah. That'd be
have
cool.
them work Battleground or something at the Apex in Vegas. Defend the tag titles, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Here's my question: they're gonna do that show in a wrestling ring, or are they gonna leave the octagon there?
I was actually talking to a coworker of mine. He's a big UFC fan, and yeah, we're both curious how the whole setup for that is gonna be. Like, how many people they're gonna actually get in there?
I think
take the
UFC gets maybe like a 1,000 at most.
Yeah. So I'm really curious how that's gonna all look up for Battleground.
Also, speaking of Vegas, UFC has a show coming up later this year in the Sphere, the Vegas Sphere. I wonder if they look at that, and with TKO and everything being connected, what if? Hear me out. So they run that show in the Sphere. It goes well. Next year's Raw after WrestleMania, or maybe even the SmackDown before WrestleMania comes to us from the Sphere instead of the T-Mobile Arena.
That'll be interesting. I had a coworker go see.
Because I don't know anyone that's been in it yet.
So a coworker of mine saw U2 in there, and he said it was amazing. It was amazing, just visually amazing. Like, he was trying to show me video, and he was like, "This doesn't do justice of the experience inside." And I know Fish is playing there right now at the Sphere.
Just think of some of the just think of some of the graphics on the outside of it they're going to use during WrestleMania weekend to like hype up WrestleMania.
Cody Rhodes' face spinning around.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool if they can put on a show there. That would be money.
Well, speaking of Cody Rhodes, he main evented this show against AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. They said that this was their first ever singles match against each other. They also noted that Jessica Carr, the referee, she's the first female to ever referee a main event where the WWE Championship is on the line. So that's really cool to see.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's right. I remember them saying that.
Because she's main evented plenty of like Raw and SmackDown main events. And I don't know if she's ever main evented a pay-per-view main event, like ref a pay-per-view main event. But this is the first time a female referee is in a WWE title match in the main event.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for her. No, that's awesome. I mean, she's a great ref.
She was Adam Copeland's handpicked referee for his last run there.
That's right.
Because I guess he wanted Charles Robinson one time, and he wasn't going like overseas. And he asked Charles Robinson, "Hey, who else would you recommend?" He's like, Jessica Carr. And from then on, he's like, "She's the only one I want refereeing my matches."
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool to hear that. And then very cool. AJ Styles coming out. He had purple on his ring gear, and I saw on Twitter someone point out, I guess AJ when he fought Dusty Rhodes for the TNA NWA title, he wore purple trunks for that match. So it's like cool little callback. AJ wearing purple for both matches against different roads.
I didn't even think about that. Oh yeah, when he used to wear the shorts or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Those match itself did, of course, longest match of the night. Did go 27 minutes and 17 seconds. Crowd loved every moment of this. I loved every moment of this. Like I said, I could see this as a match of the year contender. Again, not to compare AEW to WWE, but I thought this was on the level, if not maybe even a little better than Ospreay Danielson. I felt like AJ came out here trying to prove something. Like, we know Cody's already proved his stuff at WrestleMania. AJ was trying to prove why, oh, you don't think I should be in this main event? Well, here's why I should be in this main event.
So Meltzer, you better give this 7 stars. I'm just saying, man. I'll come down to his house. It's like 45 minutes away from me. I'm telling him 7 stars right now.
Saying, you know people that know where he lives.
Oh, yeah, I do. I know people. By the way, I'm still waiting for that. For anyone listening, I'm still waiting for the invite to Meltzer's house. I got buddies that go to his house to watch premium live events. I want to go watch at Meltzer's house. I'll make it happen at some point.
So early on, Styles cleared the French announce table and the crowd booed, which is weird. It's like, they don't care if they mess with the English-speaking announce table. You touch that French announce table. They did it with Solo, too. You touch that French announce table, and they don't like you.
No. Oh, yeah. The ultimate heel move in France. Don't mess with the French announcers there.
Well, I don't. I've heard the names of the French announcers in the past, but apparently these guys have been the French announce team for WWE forever. And it's like, if you watched wrestling in France as a kid, they were the voices you heard. So
they're the Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler,
basically
of the French generation, and it was cool. One of them was the translator for the press conference as well. Okay, yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah.
That threw me off when they started speaking French to Triple H in the press conference, and he's just looking super engaged, and then he goes, "What did he say?"
Cody Rhodes too. He was like, "Huh?"
So Rhodes fought AJ off as they were, battling over the announce table and everything. Rhodes tried a delayed suplex, but AJ slipped out. A little bit of a weird spot, but Rhodes sold his back after being planted down with an electric chair drop. Styles then tried to go for a lion salt, but Rhodes got his knees up. Rhodes hit a power slam and a disaster kick for a 2. The crowd started going crazy for both men as they were trading counters and moves and just hitting each other with everything. Styles at one point hit a fisherman's neck breaker. Styles then dropped Cody onto the apron. There was a suplex there moments later. Styles tried to go for a PK, and Rhodes caught him with a powerbomb through the announce table. Both men simultaneously slipped back into the ring right at the 9 count, so they teased the count out here. Styles at one point a little bit later on hit a burning hammer, but Rhodes kicked out at 1, fired up, and hit a Cody cutter for a near fall. The crowd then started chanting "Fight Forever," which I'm like, well, go for it, because this match rules. Styles then blocked a crossroads, hit a Pele kick. Styles dropped his elbow pad and went for the phenomenal forearm, but Rhodes hit him with a thrust kick right in the gut. Rhodes then applied a Kimura, and I'm like, whoa, are we calling back to something? Remember the Kimura with Brock and all that back last year with Backlash? So that's like a callback to his 2023 Backlash with using the Kimura. There's also, I don't know what it was, but I saw a number of people on Twitter going, what if Brock shows up tonight afterwards and takes out Cody? I'm like, well, yeah, no. Because then when he does that Kimura, I'm like, do they know something I don't know? Because Cody never uses that Kimura. Anyways.
I know.
Styles gets to his feet, slams Cody down. Rhodes then scales to the top ropes, hits a Cody cutter off the top. Rhodes then emphatically hits a crossroads, just one, and then pins him to pick up the victory. Great match, great crowd reactions into it, and Cody is still undisputed WWE champion. I always mix that up. I always say WWE undisputed, whatever. It's undisputed WWE champion, and then they go right off the air. Like, Cody celebrates, and they're off quick.
Which I'm glad it was just one crossroads, because for a while he had to do like multiple to get the job done. And it's, I think some people were like kind of devaluing the crossroads as a finisher. It's like, if it's a good finisher, you only should use it once and get the job done and get the pin. With Roman, I get it.
Yes.
Took 3. Roman's the big bad from the last 3.5 years. It made more dramatic for WrestleMania finish and concluding Cody's story. But now it's like, okay, let's reset now, get back to like the crossroads being a big deal. It takes one to defeat your opponent. I'm all for that. And then props to AJ for I know the build to this was like done in 3 weeks, so it wasn't like a lot of emotions in here. But the night before on SmackDown, the face off, it was AJ. I did enjoy how AJ was telling Cody, like, you had it easy to get to WWE. I had to pay my dues elsewhere to finally get here. And just because something wasn't going your way, you left here and come back. So I kind of like that story beat in their face off last night. It was like, finally, it took the night before the big show, but it was like finally got, connect the dots of why these two should have a rivalry here. Not only they're Georgia boys, but like, AJ, even though he's older, but he is jealous of Cody and what was kind of given to Cody on a silver platter from his perspective. So this match here, that got me more emotionally involved to care about this match going in. And no, phenomenal match, no pun intended. Crowd singing that phenomenal French song there, but no, great match here, and just that's a great first title defense for Cody here. He really needed that to kind of just get his title reign going here and having a big defense here. So kudos to both of them for putting on a really fun main event in France.
So overall, I thought this was a tremendous show. This was great. 5 matches. I don't have the full time of how long exactly. It was under 3 hours though, I believe. And get it in, get it out, but have good matches. Each match got time. The shortest match was 13 minutes, and that was the triple threat with Bayley, Naomi, and Tiffany. But then we had like the opening match, the street fight went 19 and a half. The world title match was 15:45. Bianca and Jade winning the women's tag titles was 17 and a half. And this main event was 27 and a half. So like, I like that you have the smaller condensed card. At first you go into it and you go, and not that much on this show. But then you realize, no, because these guys and girls are getting time to flesh out their matches and show what they can do story-wise by telling stories with their matches with the more time. Also, did you see Seth Rollins, as I'm seeing this here? Did you see Seth Rollins at the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah.
Did he cut his hair?
So I don't know.
Or is it all up in the hat?
Exactly. Well, so he looks like he shaved the beard, and it's like a really, really thin, like 5 o'clock shadow. So it looks kind of weird without a full beard. And then, he's like I wonder if he
boulder cap kind of on.
Yeah, so I wonder if he has his hair up like a man bun under his hat, but since he shaves the size of his head, it looks like he's bald.
Yeah, so I was wondering that. I'm like, are we getting a new Seth Rollins when he comes off that knee surgery? Or is he just go, I'm going to cut my hair and it'll grow back out before I know I'm back because he knows he's going to be gone for that long? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what's the timetable? Like, was it 9 months? I thought that number.
I think anywhere from 6 to 9, because we know he needed surgery, but we don't know how, like, invasive the surgery was once they got in there and did it.
Yeah,
all we know is that this man worked 2 nights of WrestleMania with a torn meniscus, and I tore my meniscus in sophomore year of high school, and like basically I was skateboarding, ollied off of concrete into dirt, and the board flew out from under me. My body shifted knee first right into the concrete, but I didn't feel it. I felt nothing other than that hurt. And so I kept on skateboarding. Then 2 days later, I go to put my bicycle away in the garage, and we hung our bikes up in the garage. I lifted my bike up, and my knee gave out, and I couldn't even get back up.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm hurt. What do we do? And we lived in the mountains, so we're 30 minutes from any doctor or hospital. So my mom was just like, get him in the car. I'll drive him to town, and we'll see what they say. And they were like, you don't need surgery, but you need to be in a cast for 6 to 7 weeks. So I had a cast from my toe to my upper thigh for 6 to 7 weeks. Couldn't go to school because my school was on like the side of a mountain. You can't walk around there on crutches. So yeah, that was horrible.
So you're saying you really have a lot of empathy for
I'm saying, how the hell did this guy work 2 matches on a torn meniscus that needs surgery? It was worse than mine, and I couldn't walk after 2 days.
He's the man. He's Seth freaking Rollins. That's why.
Yeah. But overall, what do you think overall of this show as we wrap everything up here?
Super fun. I gotta admit, I do kind of like the international shows, the early start times. What better way to start my day than with some WWE wrestling in the morning? I'm all
Right.
for it, and I got the rest of my Saturday to myself, and be able to record with you as well. And so I'm all for this. Like I mentioned earlier, if they can maintain this, like the takeover old school vibes,
Yeah.
and go around different parts of the world, you're gonna have a hot audience all the time, and you have these shorter or not as many matches, but give them more time. And it's like takeover, a lot of the matches had more time to work with as well. So I think they're really taking that takeover formula and bringing it to the main roster. And I'm just happy for Triple H to kind of, his vision is now really
Yes.
coming to fruition on the main roster. So fun show, and can't wait to see the draft picks kind of settle in over the coming weeks, and new storylines starting, and King of the Ring tournament, Queen of the Ring tournament starting as well. It's WWE's gonna have a really fun rest of spring and summer season. I can't wait for it.
So we loved this show, and it looks like the fans that voted in our polls liked the show as well. The YouTube live poll, 88% liked the show, 9% thought it was just all right, 3% didn't like the show. Our Twitter poll, 90% liked the show, 10% thought it was just all right. Nobody disliked it on Twitter. And then the YouTube community poll, 82% liked it, 13% thought it was just all right, and 5% didn't like the show. I don't know who you are. They didn't like the show, but what the heck? Everyone's up for their own opinions. So if there was something you really just did not like that much, whatever.
Wait, it was
but
how many people? It was
5% of the 1,200 people
5%.
of the 1,200 that voted.
Oh, I was gonna say it's the AEW EVPs. I'm kidding, people. Jeez.
But with that, baby Huey, tell them where they can find you.
Yes. Well, first off, thank you for listening to us. But yeah, follow me on social media, facebook.com/Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey 83. As I mentioned earlier, at In The Kliq on social media as well. If you want to email me, In The Kliq, KLIQ @gmail.com. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts at. And really would appreciate that. Thank you as well to you, Tim, for having me on. Always fun.
Anytime.
To talk wrestling with you. And I once again can never thank you enough for all your help within the Kliq, behind the scenes stuff, and filling in for Brian when he's not around. I cannot thank you enough for everything. So thank you guys for once again listening, and have an awesome rest of your Saturday night.
Yeah, so with that, you can find all of our stuff, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, either PW Unlimited or Pro Wrestling Unlimited. For some reason, when I started this, some places let me get PW Unlimited, which is the easier way to find everything. And then some was like, it's already taken. I'm like, how the hell is it already taken? Anyways, we'll be back live again tomorrow, following Monday Night Raw, where they're kicking off King of the Ring. The draft goes into effect tomorrow. So should be very interesting as they build up to the Saudi show, King and Queen of the Ring. So have a great Saturday. Have a great rest of your weekend. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, guys.